Good evening and welcome back to Getty's Life Talk, hashtag Disruptive Education. I am your host, Zainab Molai. So, as we all know, this Life Talk hashtag Disruptive Education movement was started by our founder director, Dr. Sunita Gandhi, solely with the aim to disrupt education and provide platform to the educators, edupreneurs, and educator leaders around the world to come to our platform and discuss their innovative ideas. So, with this aim to disrupt education, we have hosted around 1,075 talks as yet, and we are counting many more to come. So, today we have a very special guest with us today, Miss Nisha Chakravorty, a corporate professional and a social activist, a passionate educationist, teacher trainer, social entrepreneur, parent counselor, special needs educator and trainer, curriculum designer, career counselor, working as a volunteer for Greenpeace, creating awareness and motivating towards tree plantation. She comes with a decade of experience in education industry, exclusively in management administration, setting up schools, and educational consultancy. She's a founder director of Early Learning Center chain of preschools and daycare. She is a founder trustee of Kriya Educational and Welfare Center. Under this trust, she has adopted three villages for giving them necessary support for education, food and basic sanitization, and educating them about the rules and how this helps them staying healthy. Beyond this, providing the girl child necessary support for day to day's life. She has many projects under her umbrella, like Banyan Tree. Under this project, free education and school kits are provided. Uh, Annadanam, free ration distribution. Project Vastradanam, clothes distribution. Project Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Teach them, train them, and equip them with skill based training and helping them to get into small scale industries. She is the director of Kriya Teachers Training Academy. She has spoken at like many places for like MB classes and women's dialogues. To count a few achievements of my dear speaker, Bharat Gaurav Puraskar for outstanding achievements and remarkable contribution in the field of social services, Forever Star Social Achiever, GTF Women Excellence Award, Top Women Achievers Award, SIWAA Outstanding Educator, Brainfeed Best Preschool and Daycare in Karnataka. So these are the few things about my speaker today. A very warm welcome to you, Nisha Chakravorty, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Zainab, and good evening to all our viewers. And thank you, Dr. Zainab, for reading my profile. It's been quite, I think, lengthy one. And I would like to thank Mrs. Sunita Gandhi and the entire team of Global Education and Training Institute, GETI, for providing this very platform to put my thoughts forward on the topic growing up in a pandemic, how COVID is affecting children's development. I would like to start the session with one poem, The Value of Play. You say that you love your children and are concerned that they learn today. As am I. That's why I'm providing a variety of kinds of play. You are asking what's the value of having your children play. Your daughter's creating a tower. She may be a builder someday. You are saying that you don't want your son to play in that sissy way. He's learning to cuddle a doll. He may be father someday. You're questioning the learning centers. They just look like useless play. Your children are making choices. They'll be on their own someday. You're worried your children aren't learning and later they'll have to pay. They're learning a pattern for learning, for they'll be learners always. A child has got 100 languages. The child is made of 100. The child has 100 languages, 100 hand and 100 thoughts, 100 ways of thinking, of playing, of speaking, 100, always 100 ways of listening, of marveling, of loving, 100 joys, for singing and understanding, 100 worlds. To discover 100 worlds, to invent 100 worlds, to dream, the child has 100 languages. But they steal 99. The school and the culture separate the head from the body. They tell the child to think without hands, to do without head, to listen and not to speak, and understand without joy, to love and marvel. Only at Easter and Christmas, they tell the child to discover the world already there, and of the 100, they steal 99. They tell the child that work and play, reality and fantasy, science and imagination, sky and earth, reason and dream are things that do not belong together. And thus they tell the child that the 100 is not there. The child says, no way, the 100 is there. With the poem, I just wanted to start with a topic what we have been asked to speak on, growing up in a pandemic. So I've been the educator and working with the young minds. I'm the founder director of Kriya Early Learning Center. So I've been working with early learners. So how they have been grown during pandemic. It is the fact that early childhood years in a person's life are the most crucial in terms of development of physical, sensory, motor, social, emotional, linguistic, and cognitive faculties. Brain development is most rapid in these years, and the rest of the person's life is the term of learning and development is greatly determined. So, early childhood education is very, very important. And for the instance, the term attaining for the higher education, better employment, a lower crime rate, losing out the receiving of appropriate development inputs at the stage of their lives is bound to have a detrimental impact on the lives of millions of children across the world. So, as I said, being the founder director of Kriya Early Learning Center, I have been associated with very young group of children. And how does one begin to gauge the effect of the pandemic on 2 to 4 years old who have not yet started articulating their feelings? Some preschoolers, who have started their school years online don't even understand the concept of a teacher or what waiting for your turn means. The long running pandemic has disrupted every facet of education, but the early childhood sector has been particularly devastated over the past 16 months. Young children have experienced learning setbacks and fewer social experiences, while their educators have endured degraded their working conditions, stress for job uncertainty and mental health declines. So I'll speak about how COVID has affected children's development, which we all have actually, witnessed. It's obvious that the pandemic has deeply affected diverse populations across the world, but it has had an impact like no others on children of all ages. From newborns to the adolescents, each group has had to face new challenges, be in their families, economic situations, their inability to meet friends or play outdoor, and basically, prominently the compulsion to adopt the online learning or fear of the disease itself. So now it's clear that young children have suffered a lot, perhaps with the long lasting effects, and those who work with them who find themselves facing several other problems too, like teachers. They are also facing a lot of problems along with the children. So what I have noticed, this affect not only academic outcomes but also social skills, emotional intelligence, interactions with peers, and more. Many young children who have social special needs, I work with special needs children also, they have not received and have been identified as such, and as a result they missed out with the critical services they otherwise might have received, because special need children cannot be taken online. So I must say, but there are some kind of diagnosed children those who can be taken, but special need children would always need physical classes, and they are the worst affected during pandemic. Now I'll talk about the potential risks to child development. So epidemics or pandemics such as COVID-19 produce potential risks in children's development due to the risks of illness, proactive confinement, social isolations, and the increased stress level of the parents and the caregivers. Now, this situation becomes and adverse childhood experiences and may generate toxic stress with consequent potential losses of brain development, individual and collective health, and the long term impairment of cognitive, mental, and physical health and working capacity of future adults. I hope you all will agree because we all are facing the same situation and we can judge and gauge the situations very crucially. The pandemic is impacting physical development also, as we all know. In some cases, parents are putting off routine checkups to avoid going to hospitals. Children of all age groups are neither getting enough sunlight or sufficient exercises. Some kids are having obesity issues, while others are having problem with the bowel functions and are suffering from constipations due to the lack of physical activities. And most of all, the increase in device time is leading to early use of prescription spectacles. Almost all the children, those who were having good eyesight and all, they have gone into glasses. I'm being mother of two. I have seen both of my kids are suffering, and definitely both of them have got glasses. So most of the children, my students, who I also take online classes, and I get pity on children when they try to look into the screen. And one point of time, we as an educators, we used to tell, we have to have the screen time told to the children. We cannot give so much of time, but right now that has become the necessity because we want the children to learn something. If they are not able to go to the school, somewhere we need to occupy them. And they have also come up, some of the parents, they come up with the issues like my child's sleep routines have become erratic. Earlier, most of the my kid used to get up early in the morning and used to get into the bed by 9 p.m, but now many of them are awake till 11 p.m or later. If the older sibling is there, the younger one definitely be attacked to the older one. I want to see with you. Those things are happening. They chat, play games, and they sleep whole morning. Often I have seen the switch on the virtual classes, the children, and get back under the quilt. And the little ones, you just can't talk to them because they don't even understand. Why should I even attend the classes? And I see in a small screen the teacher, and the teacher I can't touch, I can't feel, I can't hug, and my friends, I cannot have circle time. So they do ask some questions to me, and it is sometimes, I don't have any answers to tell them. So it is sometimes bizarre to talk to the little ones mostly. Since again, I'm telling, I've been working with the younger group of children, and I do give tuitions to the older kids. So they have their own perspective where they can articulate their problems, that they talk to me. But here, little ones, they do have some questions where I need to buy time to talk to them. What should be the proper answer? Because they are the followers and they listen to the teachers very carefully. So now, keeping all these on record, I would like to talk to you about the effect of almost 2 years without school. How did this went through, and we are still struggling to have the schools opened, and there are some kind of concerns still there. So the effect of almost 2 years without school, less or no interaction with friends or play dates, is beginning to show that the burden has fallen into the parents and the older siblings. So in very young kids, toddlers, or those who are starting play school, social skills have taken a hit. They have not developed the social skills at all. Parents find them loud and startle. The children crowd frightens them. A lot of efforts will have to be made to accustom them to these surroundings, because they have not been to schools at all. They were supposed to begin the school, and there is a pandemic and 2 years. So they are almost 4 years now without seeing the school environment and not meeting the peers and not going to the birthday parties. Those are the gatherings where they really develop their social skills. And the restrictions and shutdowns mandate to curtail the spread of virus. They have had an adverse effect on the emotional and physical development. And you can see the changes such as difficulty in sleeping, where I was talking about. Once the development, the child's development is somewhere being shattered, and it's shutting down somewhere. The holistic development is not happening. So the aggression, they don't have complete sleep, and irregular bowel movements. These all cause the aggression. The children, when I take online classes, I have seen kids throwing the books right in front of the cameras. It's not their fault. It is like a mental irritation. So it doesn't mean that they are having some kind of disease, but yes, they don't have proper sleeps. when we have already spoken about. So what we can do, there are small ways in which children can take in control. They have also started taking control of their lives. Recent studies we have seen the children aged 4 to 7 wearing masks significantly a sense of control of their body. They started telling me, ma'am, we should wear masks, we should clean our hands, before, after, if you're touching anywhere, so they have taken control over their body, and they know. Initially we were thinking about it must be suffocating to wear masks all the day, but children are hearing things about COVID-19 all the days from their parents or from the news. When they wear masks, they feel the charge of their body and the environment. Preteens have also adopted some of the things, and they have become more compassionate. And it's amazing to see the little ones, talking to me and telling, every session when it ends, I keep talking to them and telling them, you should wear mask if you're going into the gatherings and all. Trust me, they in contrary tell me, when I put up some pictures in my status, trust me, they tell me, ma'am, you went there and without mask you have taken the picture. Then I have to tell them, there were no people around, so I have taken the pictures and I've been more careful, children, and thank you for making me alert about all these things. They have really become mature, and they do know about COVID-19 a lot. And I also feel there's a need of open communication when it comes to pre-teens. Those are between the age of 8 and 12. They have also shared their coping up with the situations, and they do come up with such questions. And open communication is one of the key factor with the pre-teen kids. They sometimes they don't open up, and they go through a lot, especially when the kids are in children between the classes 5 to 7, who've been introduced with a new concept, geometry, algebra, and chemistry. They need more communication, both the ways, and also parents help they require. So we are doing our bets, and teachers have become very smart and very active. We all teachers have come up with a lot of things, theories and all, which can be used as hands-on rather than only theoretical work. So all these things are being taken care. And yes, and we are looking forward when the schools can reopen with all the safety controls and safety measures. But I still think about, until the kids are being vaccinated, we need to wait along for some time, for at least this academic year. And the cause, one of the leading causes even I found, is loneliness. The effects of pandemic, and how the kids are growing. The kids are also growing up with a leading cause of loneliness. In more affluent families, where both the parents are working and not getting enough time to sit and talk to the kids, children are fighting loneliness. They're also witnessing a lot of bickering or arguing about unimportant things between the parents. And we as parents also have some kind of threshold, and we just give up in between. So as I said, all ages, in the pandemic has affected all the ages across the globe. Between in all of the above problems, the kids have been witnessing and recognizing the underprivileged. What I have actually genuinely I have recorded. I have seen, been working with the Lions Club, so I've seen the kids in Leo clubs. The little ones are coming together, and the group of kids, I said, and I take tuitions and all. So they come across and they talk to me, ma'am. Like I've seen the people, especially I being a social entrepreneur, I came across teenagers talking about social work and helping the needy. A lot of children recognize their privilege. They are privileged and they have everything what they wanted, and one click, and parents are bringing things to them, and they do realize that they are privileged and have been deeply impacted by the plight of migrant workers. I have seen in our apartment, I have seen we had a lot of migrant workers coming and sitting in front of the gate, and I've seen all the teenagers and preteens, and my kids, those were little ones, have gone checked with all the apartments and collected food and the things needed, and they have started going and giving. So I have recognized a lot of children have come forward for working and helping the migrants, and also help them for accessing the medical aids, and the teenagers have come in a broad way. As a result, many of them have spent last year organizing campaigns on menstrual hygiene and getting sanitary napkins across the women migrant laborers. And kudos to those kids from our apartment and the neighborhood apartments. They have done marvelous job, and we have encouraged them to continue with the work. These are the beauty of pandemic, I would say, because the children have grown completely technical way also, and also became compassionate, to help others, those who are in need. And I have also seen the little ones have also become, techno savvy. They know how to open the screen lock, and the parents have also been little reluctant. Okay, this is the only way now to put forward. So they have also been a great help. So education innovations, and we have come up with new approaches as well. While it's been a year marred with tragedy and heartaches, by necessity, education innovations and new approaches have emerged out of the turmoil and are presenting real opportunities to transform the education worldwide. What I have seen as the world is contemplating a new year with the promise of COVID-19 vaccines, a return to normalcy, we must ensure that we don't simply revert to pre-COVID-19 ways of operating. That means the system, the education system we were operating before COVID-19. So we will not ensure that we simply revert back completely to what was there before. So let me talk about the trends and strategies that should help us leapfrog towards a more equitable and relevant learning ecosystem for all young people in 2021 and beyond. Some of the strategies what I'll be talking to you all, I wanted to put forward in PPT, but I do have this. If anytime anyone needed the viewers, I can actually send it to Dr. Zainab. You can take it from there. So we need to talk about some strategies, like kind of improved student ability. Prior to the pandemic, the ability of learning independently was not a skill in many schools, which was deliberately cultivated in children. But learning how to learn is an essential one, both now at time when children aren't learning under the constant supervision of an adult. Sometimes, even I leave my children, they work it out on themselves because I'm working somewhere else. So they have learned how to, they have started learning how to learn things. That is very important. That is very, very important. When they have started navigating, multiple jobs together, multiple windows, I was amazed. But when one of the UKG child, when I was unable to, my window was hung, and somewhere the child was telling, why don't you check in Google, ma'am? That was hilarious. And I had the presence of mind. They know there's a Google app, where you can search everything. So they have gone beyond what we think about it. So they became, techno savvy. And so now they have started learning how to learn and working independently and listening to what we talk. They have come up to mature talk in the terms of understanding and also analyzing the problems and coming up with the results. At least they started trying, the little ones when I talk about. So it is very important. So improved, we have to improve, students ability by helping. It is parents, teacher, may it be the children. They come in contact with various people. We have to see to it that where they're learning things which are important, and we need to help them in unlearning things which is not really required. So then COVID-19 has also underscored that the factory model of education is not sufficient, because we were into so much of rote learning, and the schools were mostly, intentionally, develop 21st century skills like problem solving to prepare children for lifelong learning. With some students already proficient in operating Zoom technology, Google Meet, and various other platforms, the pandemic has unintentionally furthered children's independence. That is one of the reason, where children have again, keeping the topic, they have started learning how to learn. This all are under it, they've started thriving to learn and independently operating the online modes and the platforms when the parents are not around. So, the game changing role of parents in education before the global school closure in March, the education community spent relatively little time focused on the roles of parents' engagement. But we are increasingly seeing that this was an oversight when parents are involved and supportive for the children learning at home. Initially, when we used to send homeworks at home, parents, then the very next that the child used to come up with no homework done, and parents would always tell, no ma'am, we did not get time to sit with them. But nowadays they're very spick and span. The parents are really sitting on screen, and they are giving some time for, especially for the little ones, again the age group I'm talking about. And it looks very beautiful when that the bond between the parents are really increasing, which is really really good. Now, new education allies, the pandemic is also impacted not only children's ability to learn, but also their physical and socio-emotional needs. So when I said, my maid came after so long, my son was gathering things, and they told she's become, so weak, ma, can we give all these things? So I'm sure in other homes also the things are happening. And we teachers, as a teacher, I keep talking to the children, the learning will always happen. We are homo sapiens, we are human beings, we will learn. Writing and practicing is easy, we will learn it, but behavior comes first. You need to be a little compassionate, talk about others problems, feel others feeling is very very important. The potential of educational technology also important. When you talk about, I have seen my son, coming up and teaching my maid how to, call up. She came up with one Android phone, and he was training and teaching her, and that site was beautiful and awestruck. So the potential of educational technology, the kids have learned, and they are trying to train others, those who are in need. That is very very good to see. While in the past of past the potential of education technology has not always lived up to the expectations, we are now seeing the constant efforts of educators. We educators, yes, we were not working on online platforms, and the efforts were not there so much since we were directly in touch with the students, though there was no medium in between. But COVID-19 has really brought us up with all the constant efforts of educators. Many in poor communities, yeah, have adopted to villages, as Dr. Zainab has told. So I've been taking remote learning. So we've been providing the Android phones and tablets, so that 10 15 students can come together, but maintaining the distance, and they're sitting and they're actually learning remotely. And I was one of the facilitator for doing that, and it was very very interesting, and they were interested to learn things. That is the main thing. So poor communities with limited educational technologies, resources we had provided, and we innovated how QR codes can work with them to get the books when they don't have the books itself. So the teachers have also come forward along with us, and education technology is very very important. We should not revert back completely to the operating system which was happening before COVID-19. So we will have to maneuver over this educational technology also, and keep consistently this one. And also school emergency preparedness, as we talk about, COVID-19 induced the school closure in mid-March, as we all know, caught school districts by surprise, leaving many scrambling to provide remote learning activities. So what happened, COVID-19 is unlikely to be the last large scale school disruption. When you talk about disruption, it's imperative to build a more resilient education ecosystem, and I'll talk about and public support for schools and teachers. In and around in my apartment, people have come forward, knowing that I've been working with the school kids in government schools in and around Bangalore and my own schools. They have put forward, they have started supporting entire team of teachers, as students struggle to learn from home. Gratitude for teachers, their skill and their caretaking role in society has been amazing this time. Many of the mothers who's not been working, they have come around, and they told, if you're were teaching the government school kids remotely, let us be a part of it. Later on, when a few things have started opening, keeping all the corona protocols in line, we have I have taken many moms along with me to train one on one to the students at the village itself. But again, it was amazing to see the entire society coming together and working for the poor, because later, we all understood we are privileged, and there are people, those who are thriving for learning things. And we started getting queries from the most of the government schools, ma'am, why don't you come up with the things? And it was amazing when the teenagers have taken up the responsibility, and they've started coming and talking to me about, doing some kind of work. That's amazing. Schools are the, as we know, the schools are the heart of the social and economic recovery, and teachers around the world are developing creative solutions to continue learning, empowered to unleash their ingenuity and taking risks. We all are continuously working out, as we all know that we are actually taking up more than the, rote learning. We are taking up a lot of hands-on activities where the child can prove the definition whatever they're learning. So hands-on activities are being really taken care of. I'm not telling that it was not taken care, but that time it was physical instances, physical classes. Now online, we have just come up with, most of the teachers have come up with beautiful creative solutions, where kids are actually learning. I found the difference between the physical classes and online classes. They're learning much better way, I have seen, because they, it's kind of one on one. The child is alone in the room, but in the classroom, there is a lot of disruptions or disturbances. But here, the kids are really paying attention, being one on one, or maybe the parents are really taking care single handedly. So they are really showing up the creative development. And when you give them any kind of activity or PBL, that is project based learning, they're coming up with beautiful thoughts. And when they talk about the project itself, you can understand the child has put in 100% there. It's not only parents have done the work. It's hard to imagine. It is really hard to imagine. There will be another moment in time when the central role of education is so well understood, which presents a tremendous opportunity for the education community to capitalize on support and transform the key elements of education system. So everyone has come together to fight with, and the education system now has been beautifully crafted its own way. So you can see that versus this. So the education has not been stopped. It was going on, and you won't believe the innovation has been, it's been ripening all over. Everyone is coming up with one or the other thing, So as we look at 2021, our wish is to, that as school reopens their doors, we build on these trends and strategies to ensure that all the children can thrive. They should come up with thinking skills, and put forward. It should be smart enough to talk over the windows, over the screen. Yeah, I know this. We hope that a decade from now, we look back at 2020 not as a moment when the global education community reverted to old strategies of first access, learning the second. So what is the first? The strategy is access the opportunities first and then learn. So here, one part of the community, they never had the source or resources for accessing, so which we were trying to bridge the gap between under the Kriya Educational Trust. It's one of the small innovation what we have done through arts, the group of ladies which are working with us. So we've been approaching and trying to bridge the gap between the community under the underprivileged children with some of the contributions from our end. So yeah, it's looking really good. And engraving the thoughts of helping others, we're trying to do it partially. And by the end of 2021, we think there will be more of children, those will be looking forward for sharing, so those things are very, very important. Again, as I said, learning will happen. Practices, we are homo sapiens, we are human beings. We are the superior brains, so learning is one of the part of it. But you know thinking, sharing, and compassion, that is very, very important. So instead of, hopefully this will be a moment of this moment that propels education systems into new, more effective ways of providing quality, relevant teaching and learning experience to students in and out of school experiences that supports their ability to apply what they learn to their lives and prepare them for the world that is to come. So all those things are happening around. And we've been, like, parents and teachers are being the catalyst who are engraving the thoughts, several changes which has come like a blow to us, we've started adopting. So that is very, very important. We are adopting it, we are adapting it. So that is very, very important. So above all these, we need to also think how to shape the minds of the next generation of students. This was a topic about I was been speaking, amidst of all this kind of situations we are encountering. Yet we need to shape up the mind of the children, what is necessary and how they can balance their work life and their personal life is also very important. Leaving the little ones aside, the older kids, when I talk about, they are definitely going through a very bad imbalance of life. Kind of, when I talk about my own daughters, like food habits have been changed drastically. And most of the I'm being a parent counselor, I do get a call, like, my kid is not moving or inch from the chair, ma'am, what should I do? When I talk to her, she's very aggressive, she makes faces. When I talk to my son, he closes the door. There are a lot of things which are happening, and at times it's very scary when the little ones are throwing the tantrums, throwing the things, are tearing the papers and kicking the things. The teenagers are going into silence. That's again matter which we really need to think about. So here are we, there are few ways to disrupt the education system to prepare the students for future. We need to think about that. We need to focus more and more on experience based learning and project based learning, which is called as PBL. Today it is crucial to give up on rote learning and adapt experiential learning. The students will have to understand the practical side of the learned concepts and should be ready to implement them in a real world. That is very, very important. Learning the concepts and close the book and put it aside, and then you have another concept to live in the real world, shouldn't be, encouraged. So we need to give them the concepts, the values of the concepts, the outcome of the concepts, and leave them with a note. Why don't you try it at home? And write it down. How did you experience with the concept? Did it work? Did it not work? So engrave that. And experience based learning is productive because it can establish lasting behavior changes, because they are doing it by themselves. They would be learning much better. So under this type of learning, what you can do, students develop new habits and behaviors rather than simply understanding a new subject or gaining the skills. So they do have the, kind of, they charged up with the thought, okay, the concept, what mom has told me across, let me try and see it. And this is the responsibilities of the educator and also parents at home, while asking, what did you do today? Yeah, if there was a concept, come, let us sit on weekends when we have time and ask them, sit with them at least 5 to 7 minutes. Easily it can be taken out from the work profile. That I believe, trust me, when I'm a parent of two, my daughters in college and son is in class 7, I try taking out some time and sit with them during these ages. The education process must follow the experiential learning cycles. Experience reflect concept based experiences. Try talking to your children, those, especially those are teenagers, and talk to them and tell, oh wow, you made this one, it is so interesting, and that was the concept, oh, you proved it. Please encourage them. I know as an adult we are also going through a lot of problems. Our work also gives us a lot of tensions, but still fight. That's why we are adults, because we are experienced. Actually, I would like to request for the introduction of entrepreneurships at the school levels, which allows the students to experience the said cycle, originally. So, we are thinking about, every child, we feel, they are entrepreneurs until they've been told they know it. They don't understand that they know it because they're still small. They don't know. We have to encourage them, we have to introduce the entrepreneurship in the school level itself, so that they can come up with, and they should stand tall and should be proud of their achievements. May it be small, may it be big, they should be happy about. Then for this we need to integrate the technology. It is a technology dominated world, as we know, and it is going to be so for the foreseeable future. So it is essential to familiarize students with technology right from young age, which they are very much familiar with iPhones and the phone which doesn't work and everything. And most of them, they stand behind parents, and they see the password of the phone, and they open and they work. Most of the queries I get, how to control. So we are yet to put them into task. Again, when you want to put your child, the child tries doing all these things when they don't have any work, they're not occupied. When you talk about the little ones, give them the task, let the biological clock set the clock. And I know it is not very easy what I'm talking about, but try to make, keep them occupied. So small nowadays everything is available. Parents have been watching in Google and YouTube. A lot of activities are there related to the curriculum or syllabus, whatever has been provided by the school. Take out from your busy schedule. I know it's not easy, but 5 to 7 minutes for your little ones are very, very important, because your overuse of technology also has to be told to them. It is not good. So do's and don'ts, pros and cons has to be told. They are very intelligent, they understand. So when I talk about the technology, you have to familiarize them with a very young age, be it be coding, or to the culture of BYOT, bring your own devices. The shift towards technology is vital. Coding and decoding have started for the little ones with the letter. There are 26 letters, and I've started coding. If you want to know about it, I would leave it to Dr. Zainab. They can come, get in touch with me. I will send you all the flyers or maybe the handouts, so that you can see how the little ones can be taught coding and decoding through the letters in alphabet. Those can be done. And courses on entrepreneurship at early stage encourages the students to integrate technology to say at the top of their games also. So sometimes my children, those who are privileged, they are taking online classes. When I teach something new, I always encourage them, now it is your time to go and teach your neighborhood children, or maybe cousins when you're visiting. So that's very, very important. So they are so proud. Okay, ma'am, we are going to teach them these things to my cousins. They'll be very happy. Tomorrow I'll be again showing them with the Deepavali activities, which has been a standard practice. They learn from me, they train their known people, and they send me the anecdotes. It's amazing. And parents are really happy. They tell, ma'am, it's so nice to see they've been becoming the trainers and like entrepreneurs, kind of, oh, I know this, can I take it? And most of all, what I teach, they change the entire thing to come up with a new thing. So that's very important, and that really pleases me. And it really, I sometimes I'm awestruck. I have taught something else, they have kept those colors and those things, but they have come up with some other ideas. So entrepreneurship is always there with them, that we have to tell, you are great, you can be an entrepreneur. So it's all about letting them meet what they are actually. So, this is very important. Being tech savvy is no more an option. It is the necessity of the successful future. You just can't, avoid technology. So that's very important. And also the gap between the knowledge acquired through traditional education and the industrial standards is still very substantial, is what I've seen. I'm talking about the pre-teens, but it is a time to change it. And the only way to do is to modify the way we teach our children. It's important to familiarize students with industrial standards also. I'm talking about the teenagers. When you talk about the little ones, are very small, but yet what is required has to be taught. So any day will be the first day when you talk about, so handhold things with them. And yes, we need to inspire the leaders of today for a disruptive change in education. By motivating students, we have the greatest job in the world as teachers and parents. So teachers have come up with a lot of motivating anecdotes and kind of words, and a beautiful, the bonding between the teacher and student has become very strong now. That is amazing, because the child has not been coming to the school and always been learning through one way interactions. They look forward, because the timing has been cut short from 7 periods to the older kids, they are just confined to maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, maximum 4 hours with the interval. But the little ones, from 3 hours to merely 45 minutes, they look forward to be spoken about, they look forward to be talked about. they look forward to be listened. So this becomes a challenge for the teachers to how to motivate, and after the class keep them occupied and engaged. So one of the most difficult aspects of becoming a teacher is learning how to motivate your students. And but all the teachers have come forward after the pandemic. Before also it was there, that was physical teaching. We used to hug, touch, feel and understand, make them understand. But online, since they cannot talk to us directly every time, and they can't show their emotions, so it is very difficult for us. But we have passed out from there. It is also one of the most important things. Students who are not motivated will not learn efficiently. They won't retain the information, they won't participate, and some of them may even become disruptive. I have seen a student may be unmotivated for a variety of reasons. I get to see the pencils, nib is broken. No, I don't want to write because it's not writing. They may feel that they have no interest in the subjects itself. Find a teacher's method unengaging or maybe distracted by external forces. Sometimes teachers, if there are many students online platform, they may not be able to attend each child for every second. It may even come to light that students who appeared unmotivated actually has difficult learning. Maybe they have difficulty in learning, and some children, they would look forward and "Oh, my teacher is not looking at me." So that kind of the interface, maybe the teacher is not able to ask all the 50 students together, may also leave the child not motivated enough to have the classes done. So when you talk about, actually, as some children, they look very normal. Maybe they have some kind of difficulty in learning. If you have physical classes, we notice them right there in a practical way. But online it doesn't happen. It becomes very difficult to understand. They might need special attention, which doesn't happen. So while motivating the students, it can be a difficult task. The rewards, yes, of course, the rewards are more than worth it. Now, what is happening initially when we used to give rewards? We used to put stars or hug, or maybe you did well and clap, and we are doing this. Now, what is happening? The rewards are on the boards, because they just if for the little ones, those who cannot read and write their names, they don't understand the reward is been given to them. So they want, "Ma'am, I want the reward in a practical method." So then what we do is we get the pictures of theirs along with the work done, the mama has to send, and on that we put the stars, and then send it back, and we ask the parent to show that to the little one, and it works miraculously amazing. The child is so thrilled. So rewards definitely work for the children of any age group, not only children, for the adults also. Motivated students are more excited to learn and participate. I have seen the children, I can name them a few. If you are not just asking them to answer, suppose there's a lag in the system, you didn't hear, the child told you the answer and you did not applaud, the child is off the camera. So it's not very, very easy then to put forward the little ones and the older kids also, I have seen. So it's very difficult. Simply put, teaching a class full of motivated students is enjoyable for the teachers also, and also the students. If all the kids have been encouraged, the learning becomes very, very easy and also enjoyable. So some students are also, naturally they're self motivated, the natural love for learning is there, but all are not the same. But the students who do not have the natural drive, or great teachers can make learning fun and inspire them to reach their full potential. So all the teachers are working towards creating a bond between the child and for herself. But sometimes, yes, some children, they do get highly demotivated just because they've not been taken care of. It is not intentionally done, but these are some of the problems, if I say, in remote learning, because that particular set timing, all the windows are not, people, sometimes the kids would not put on their cameras. You don't even understand what is happening, what is not happening. As I said, some natural motivators, they keep their drive on and they learn. But there are some problems which is happening through the remote learning, but we have no other way than motivating. And while motivating the children, the teacher needs to also get motivated. And it is two-way activities. So that is very, very important. And along with that, I'm going to introduce 5 common steps to get your students excited about learning. How would you do that? Motivating the child, and making the child work, a very common steps which we do with our children at home. All the mothers are teacher, and we have all these kind of steps what we do. Again, the simple thing is, you're just to get your students excited about learning is encourage, motivate, and reward, and recognize them. you know the claps would be enough for the teenagers, and taking their names would be enough for the teenagers. When you come down to the little ones, yes, the smileys and stars would be very, very effective. Right, they don't name on the board and tell them your name starts with which this letter, and I have given you so many stars and you are amazing. Take his name and tell other kids to clap for your friend, and do it for everyone, not for the only one child. The other child will definitely go into demotivated zone, because oh my god, I tried. So those who are trying, those who have tried, who've been excellent, applaud them on the similar task, similar way. You are doing it, you did it. We will try a little more, should be the words from the teacher, encouraging the students. Students look to teachers for approval and positive reinforcement, as I said, and are more likely to be enthusiastic learners. In between, the child will be one of the child will be raising hands always. The other child would always, I look at the faces, why she's not letting me tell the answers. So now you have to balance the child who's overexcited, excellent learners, slow learners, and also identify if they have any difficulty in learning. So a teacher has to have too many eyes, set of too many eyes, so that she can get into. And the teachers are doing marvelous job. That is very, very important. And as parent, you should encourage open communication and also free thinking with your kids. And also this goes with the teachers, to make them feel important. Open communication. If they are wrong, the communication should be in such a way that it is not degrading their thought, but letting them know their problems, and asking them, you did very well, you can do much better, let us do it together. And always praise the enthusiastic students and recognize them for their contributions. This is from the teachers and what I'm talking about. And also teachers can have the classroom, the platform friendly place where students feel heard and respected. That is very, very important. And they will be also more eager to learn the statements, the phrases.
Nisha,
Good
ma'am,
job.
I would like to interrupt you. Would you please wind up?
Okay, maybe I will telling, so
Yeah,
there are
just
various ways.
yes, ma'am.
So yeah, encouraging students, they get them involved, offer incentives and draw connection to the real life. And yes, I'm to the end of it. I would like to wind up the session with the piece of information here, Dr. Zainab. So disruptive education is one of the one which intends to transform with the established mode to improve the existing one. Okay, the system. And many experts think the change is both necessary and urgent, because the current education system is seems to be a very rote learning and kind of little old fashions, but yet it is very strong and need to be replaced by solid base, imbibing the skills in students to make them future ready. And thank you so much, Dr. Zainab, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
And
Nisha, ma'am. I'm really sorry that I interrupted you,
no
but it
problem.
was time, and we
Okay,
have to like end
why
this
not?
session.
Thank you for the viewers. If any question is there, let us know. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No
All
problem.
right.
So please
Thank you.
go ahead, my dear viewer. Thank First of all, I would like to thank you, ma'am, for giving such an amazing session. I was like thoroughly enjoying you. That's why I did not interrupted you, but it was beyond the given time. So
Thank
I,
you. I hope it's been worth. And
yes,
anyone wants
ma'am.
to get connected, Dr. Zainab, you can let me know, so I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
send handouts to you so that you can share with them. So that's
Surely, ma'am, you can share the handouts with me, and I would like to request my audience to type their questions in the chat box. And if you are not typing it right now, you can type it later. Miss Nisha can come over to the Facebook live, Facebook. This recording of the video will be uploaded on the Facebook,
thank
so you can come and answer the questions there. And thoroughly, I was like making notes of the things that you told us, how to handle children during this pandemic time, and the problems are very evident, and we know that these problems are going to occur for another year or so, because
you.
we are
Absolutely.
expecting this the schools not to be opening for another 3-4 months, because again we
Absolutely.
are hearing rise in COVID-19 cases. And
Yes, absolutely.
as a parent, we are also reluctant to send our children to school due to
Absolutely. Absolutely.
safety
When as
issues.
a that is
Yes.
true. As parent, when we would want don't want to send our children, I will not request the parents to send, because until they are vaccinated, we cannot put their life in danger. That's very,
Yes,
very
but
important.
by taking precautions, there are parents who are sending, and those children are performing 100 superlatively better, 100 degrees better. They are well behaved now, because like we also keep on taking reviews from the parents and from the teachers.
Yes.
The children who came blank to the schools 2-3 months ago, they are now working very hard, and they're like children are coming in a blended manner. They're coming 3 days to the school, and
Absolutely.
3 days they are doing online classes. So this is helping children to groom themselves, to see each other, and how they can work in
Yes.
groups. So
They
this
are
is
more
happening.
mature now, they have
Yeah,
taken over the control over their own body. They understood COVID-19 so well. That is
yeah,
amazing. They've started giving tips to us. That's
yeah,
amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. They understand actually.
They are super learners, and they will learn, and they will adapt very well to this situation, and they will be the witness to this pandemic, and how they adapted and how they transformed. The society will be
Yes.
transformed, and the transformation will be seen in the children.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for providing me this platform. It's nice to talk. I feel, like the parents are junior to me. All of them are young parents, and I would love to tell them a lot of things. So I'm so sorry that I have exceeded the time, but
No problem, ma'am. No problem. The session was very interesting, and I would like to thank you, and
thank
I would
you.
like to thank my audience for staying in touch with us. And that's it for today. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.